With thoughts of revenge in their hearts, the party sailed east at breakneck speed. Failure is not an option. The memory of what they have done fuels and compels the party to go faster and faster. Eventually, they are hit by a massive storm. Waves 50 feet high buffet the ships. The party members fight to stay afloat. Then, on the horizon, Gabi spots a massive wave, 130 feet tall, which barrels down towards the party. Together, Laris and Eros fire all their spells into the wave. They split it in two, and are able to survive the storm, sailing through the gap in the massive, destroying wave. But the Raven has suffered heavy damage. After the storm, Gabi spies a ship on the horizon. Its name is the Asifu. The ship is captained by a woman named Galiana and a spirited halfling named Armando. Armando explains that he's the lead arcanist for the Queen of Yobi, a kingdom in the Spines. The party do not know what the Spines are, and so Armando enlightens them. To the east, there are a series of cities. These cities are ruled independently. However, they are a part of a combined league, the Yobian League. These cities are in a location known as the Spines, and Armando is from the greatest of those cities, Yobi. But there are many other cities, such as Notho, the trading city, Thikasa, the industrial city, Benaway, the city of mercenaries and explorers, and Labanda, the city to the far north, and of course, Imphara, the one city in the Spines controlled by the dreaded Ferric Empire, which the party already know about, thanks to Drexel. They ask Armando about the serpent, and Armando explains that this creature they call the Popobawa is a monstrous beast that tends to hunt in the region. Whenever a crew faces the Popobawa, the only thing that they can do is run. Armando and his crew then ask the party about a strange arcane anomaly. They have been sent by Asha Yobi, Queen of Yobi, to investigate it. And then the party recognizes that it probably originated from the Misty Island, the place that they just came from. They explain the situation to Armando and all that they have done, and Armando thanks them. Armando then says that if they are to sail into the Spines, they need something called a Writ of Haberis. Sailing requires authorization from one of the ruling families in the Spines. Nearly any city can provide such things, but Armando recommends Yobi, specifically Asha Yobi. He says that she's a good woman, under a lot of pressure from the surrounding political powers, but good at heart. Armando, Galiana, and the crew of the Asifu fly under her flag. They suggest stopping in Benaway for supplies. It's only about a day's travel away, and looking at the condition of the Raven, the party won't be able to sail far across the open seas in such disrepair. The party says that they will take up Armando's recommendation, and he gives them a sailing map so that they may navigate the Spines. The two ships part ways, the Asifu heading towards the Misty Islands, and the Raven limping towards Benaway. After a long time, the party arrives at Benaway. It is a strange city. The houses are made of sandstone and shell. People wear decorative seashells and vibrant makeup. While there, the group has the Raven repaired enough to sail. And while there, they encounter a government official who offers them a job to clear out a pirate stronghold to the south if they're willing. The pay is good, so the party agrees. It is noted that the pirates have a powerful ballista that can fire on a ship up to 7 miles away. The group takes a stealthy approach then, and moving towards the pirates' island in the dead of night, they begin to land. Laris and Gabi murder a guard, and the party gets onto the island unseen. The party kills the guard patrols that scour the island. They find the pirates have a stronghold tucked into the side of a mountain on the island, overlooking the sea. And the group decides they attack at dawn, and then they do. They begin to fight their way through the stronghold. The group, along the way, takes a prisoner, a young man named Seth, who draws a map of the compound. With unrelenting ferocity that the pirates were not expecting, the group fights their way to the captain. This captain is named Samba, and he's a force to be reckoned with. However, this strange man recognizes Marius as a Bakara during the fight, as well as his beloved sword, Reaper. Slowly, the fight begins to turn in the favor of the pirates. The The party surrounded on three sides. Eros, Laris, and Gabi make a desperate push to turn the tide. Samba begins to flee, but not before knocking out Giovanni, Laris, and Marius. He takes Marius' ancestral sword, Reaper, and makes his escape. The party tries desperately to stop them with the ballista, but they break it. Marius is heartbroken about the loss of his family's sword. Laris begins investigating, trying to learn more about these pirates, and realizes these weren't pirates at all. They were members of the dreaded Ferric Empire, a secret guerrilla underground task force. Worse, they seem to be in communication with a powerful company within the spines, known as the Magassi Sailing Company. The Magassi Sailing Company mines pearls along the spines, but not just any pearls. These are Nereus pearls. Consuming such a pearl allows a person to have all the food and water they need for an entire day. These Nereus pearls are vital to the economy of the spines and traveling on the open seas. Such a company working with the Ferric Empire is a big deal, and the party agrees that Queen Asha Yobi must learn about this development, and perhaps if they tell her, they can make a little coin. Giovanni finds a sealed box that even Gabi can't open a little bit later. He decides to keep it. Laris and Eros both sense a incredibly strong magical aura coming from this box. Then, as they continue to search the stronghold, they find a shrine to a god known as the Warrior. It appears to be one of the three gods that is critical to the Ferric Empire's religion. They learn that these gods are the Warrior, the Scholar, and the Trickster. Before leaving, they return to the young soldier, Seth, who they have tied up. He confirms everything that they've learned, and the group takes pity on the poor boy. He's only about 18. They agree to take him on as one of their crew and teach him the error of his ways. They then leave the island and return to Benaway. Upon returning, the group gets paid and officially decides on their name, the Raven Band. They get matching uniforms and their legend begins to grow. The group uses their new money to buy weapons, armor, potions, and more. Giovanni buys a broken staff of a weapon with a strong magical aura. It's similar to the aura of the box that he picked up, and he now begins to turn his attention to opening the box, and perhaps connecting the two pieces of the weapon. Now, the Raven Band is a formidable force, and as they are preparing their ship to leave, they are approached by a representative of none other than the Magassi Sailing Company. They are an Earth Ganassi, native to the elemental plane of Earth. Their skin looks like stone, and they are dressed in a very fine suit. This person introduces themselves as Aziz. Aziz wishes one thing, for the party to hunt and kill a megalodon that's been attacking the Magassi Sailing Company's trade routes. The reward is a belt of giant strength, which everyone now agrees would greatly help Marius, who lost his sword. The belt would give Marius the strength of 15 men, and so, warily, they accept the quest and set off to the area between the trading city of Notho and the industrial city of Ficasa. Along the way, they are attacked by a Chul possessing the yellow sign of Hastur. In the middle of the battle, Giovanni is knocked unconscious and is visited by Drexel. Drexel offers to revive him in exchange for peace the next time they meet. Giovanni agrees. In their conversation, Drexel notes that he's only been peaceful, unlike Marius. Giovanni is curious, but cannot pursue the conversation more, although he is now growing suspicious of the Bakara name. The Chul is eventually defeated by Gabi, who takes a brilliant shot with his short bow and kills the creature. However, during the battle, Laris is asleep. Hastur comes to Laris in a vision, fighting back Tyr's influence over the spellcaster as he's doing so, and in the dream, Hastur promises Laris freedom and power if he separates from Tyr and joins the side of the King in Yellow. Laris accepts and becomes an acolyte, gaining new powers from Hastur. He wakes up a few days later. Before heading to the Megalodon, the party decides to stop in Yobi and trade some items. It's a beautiful city, bustling with trade. They hire a new warrior named Thuko. He's a dead-eye archer, with a survivalist attitude and a grim disposition. Giovanni, then, when he's in the city, goes and has the box opened by an expert, and there is the head of a trident inside. It's the other half of the weapon, but it's extremely powerful, and he doesn't know how to reassemble it. In Yobi, however, they bump into Armando and the crew of the Asifu, who are hurrying to see the Queen. Armando says that they will talk later that night. Before the party leaves Yobi, Armando comes to them on the deck of the Raven, and he talks about the Misty Island. Armando explains that the strange trees on the island, as well as the monsters that attacked them, were part of the Blight. The Blight is an age-old threat to the Spines, and was beaten back by the first king of the Spines, Olorun. They've already been finding spells of Olorund, and yes, items of Olorund. Giovanni shows Armando the broken pieces of the trident, and he confirms it is one of Olorund's relics. But Armando also says that any who possess one of Olorund's items have a claim to the throne of the Spines. This item is very powerful and also very dangerous. Many of the nobles would murder for such an item. Armando advises caution. The party inquires about potentially reassembling it, and Armando says, perhaps, given enough time, he or another sufficiently powerful mage can make this item whole and give whoever wields it incredible power. The Raven Band acknowledges this. Armando says that in a few days he'll have a meeting for them with Asha Yobi. When they return, look for him. He wants to have them give their testimony on the Misty Isle, the Ferric Empire, and the new, treacherous Magassi Sailing Company. The party agrees. Before leaving, Laris, Marius, and Gabi go to buy wine. It's a simple expedition. However, as they're purchasing their wine, the store owner, when they touch Laris, has the yellow sign of Hastur appear over their head. Slowly, the sign begins to spread through the store. Everyone in the store but the members of the Raven Band commit suicide horrifically. The group runs back to the Raven and set off immediately, leaving behind the massacre. The party arrives where the Megalodon is feeding and begins chumming the water. Mortimer prepares a dinner. They talk about life. Seth apologizes to everyone, especially to Gabi. He was indoctrinated by the Ferric Empire, and he was wrong, and he wants to do better and stop the slavery that the Ferric Empire has been perpetrating. The next day, the Megalodon arrives, eating a nearby whale. The shark is ferocious, biting into rowboats and nearly killing many members of the Raven Band. Eventually, the party cuts out its eyes and blows up its brain. They take its teeth as proof of their deed. During the fight, Thuco has proven himself a deciding factor. Thuco likes the Raven Band, so they hire him for 1 year and agree to split the profits with him for anything that they make. The party returns back to Yobi victorious. It is here that the party agrees to split up. They need to go to the Magassi offices in order to claim their reward, but they don't want any of the pieces of Olorun's weapon close to Magassi Sailing Company, especially because they're working with the Ferric Empire. If a high-ranking member of the Ferric Empire were to get their hands on one of these items, they could potentially have a claim to the throne, and that is something the party will not allow. So, it is decided that Giovanni, Seth, Mortimer, and Thuco will stay on the ship to protect the trident pieces. Gabi, Eros, Laris, and Marius head to the Magassi Sailing Company office to get their reward. The Raven Band is greeted by an official named Vori, who manages the offices. They are given the belt, and they sit down for a lunch. However, it is a trap. The Raven Band is ambushed, and they are taken prisoner after a bruising fight. While they are prisoner, Drexel enters the cell. He takes the Horn of Seven Dooms and says the Magassi Sailing Company also knows they took a piece of the trident, and he needs to get it back, as him and the Magassi Sailing Company have a deal that he needs to uphold. But the Raven Band gives up nothing. They don't say where the trident is. Drexel says how they could have been friends, but is only met with hatred. He slams the door behind him. And here ends Arc 2 of Goetic Tides. The Raven Band is captured, with no hope other than their friends and Giovanni, who waits on the ship as Drexel begins to approach.